Hello and welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial I want to show you how you can use every seat in a car so that you can get in, get out on every seat, and of course on the driver's seat you can control the car. So let's go. So the first thing that we need is an Interact interface. I already make a tutorial about that, link is in the description. So I will make this quick here. So Blueprint interface, interact underscore interface. Open this up, make an interact function. We make an input, this will be the player, and the player will be a third person character object reference. Compile and save this. And let's go to our third person character. So pretty basic, I just use the default one. And we need, of course, a few variables here. So the first one will be the vehicle door, and this will be an integer. The second one will be the vehicle itself. In my case, this is just called car. This is an object reference, so this is just this car here. And we need then state machine. So I may already make a tutorial about state machines, link is in the description. I quickly show you what it is. So it's an enumeration, and be sure that the default of the vehicle door is -1. So I will show you what the state machine is. So the state machine is pretty easy because it's just an enumeration. So you go blueprints, enumeration, and this is just a list of states. So normal and driving I choose. And quick to show you, we go to the animation blueprint, and what we have here, as you can see, we go from the cause third person character, state machine, set the state machine inside the blueprint here, and we have this animation graph where we go from the idle to the driving animation, and we just check if the state machine is equal to the driving state or the normal state. So that's it. Great. So, and what I prepared also is I have a second camera for this third person character. So we have this spring arm and a camera. So we use this for later as a passenger. So let's make a function for this. So add custom event, and this is switch camera. Like this. So the switch camera function is pretty easy. We take our follow camera, so this one here, and the normal camera that we created, and then we say set active. And we can just duplicate this 4 times, like this one. And then we just connect the functions here. And of course we need then flip-flop right here. So this is the A situation and the B situation. And then we just say this is the follow camera and this is the normal camera. So on the first click, we want to disable the follow camera and activate the second camera. So this above here. And in the second click, we want to, of course, do the opposite. So switch around the cameras. So now we go to our project settings, go to the input, and we need a new input. So I created an input that called interact of the E key, whatever you want. And then let's go back here and say interact. This will be an action event, like this one. So of course, the first thing, we get our vehicle, say get, and if called is valid, with a question mark to check if it's valid, like this one. Then we say get overlapping actors, and this will be for the actor. Then we go here and say for each loop with break. If it's not valid because the car is not set at this point, we want to execute it. Then we say from the array element does implement interface. We choose our interact interface that we created. Of course, we need a branch to ask. And then we just connect it. Of course, on true, we say interact as with the message. So the target will be the array element, and otherwise we need a reference to self. This is the player. So we are done here. So let's go to our car. Also pretty basic, nothing has changed. The one thing that has changed is I put 4 box collisions here. So the driver side, the passenger side 1, 2, and 3. So that we get where the player is standing in front of which door. So we need a few variables as well here. So the first thing will be the exit position. The exit position will be box collision object reference. So say box collision object reference here. Second part is the driver. So the driver is of course in third person character object reference. Then we need the passenger, also a third person character object reference. Then we need the driver seat. This is a boolean. And we need the passenger seat as well as a boolean. Great. So let's go to our event graph and we need some functionality here. The first thing is we go from the box collisions and activate the onBegin overlap events for all these box collisions. So let's get these here, put this up here. And in every situation we want to cause to the third person character. Like this one, and then we say set vehicle door, so that the character knows and the vehicle knows where the character is standing in front of which door. So let's say the driver side is the vehicle door 0, then the passenger side 1 is vehicle door 1, and go on. So this is 2. And this is 3. Like that. Great. So now we need the interact opposite point here. So we go to the class settings and add up these interact interface that we created. Compile and save this. And now we are able to call the functions. So the interact function, this is this one here, the event interact. So the first thing we want to ask is get vehicle door. From the vehicle door we say switch on int. That's the first function that we call. Put this down here. From the player we say get controller. We need this later, and also of course we put all the situations here. So we have the vehicle door 0, 1, 2, and 3. From the situations we need some branches, so we go from the 0. This will be ask if the driver's seat is already set. Put this down here, and we do this for every situation on 1, 2, and 3. But we need this for the passenger side. So let's copy and paste this as well. Like that. Great. So on false, of course, because the driver's seat is not set yet, we want to possess the car like that. The controller is the return value, so the target. And the porn is in this case a reference to self. So let's make one. This is the car. Let's control it. Then of course we want to set the driver seat to true. Then we go from the player and set the state machine because we want to switch the animation to driving, like this one. Then again, we're going from the player and say set actor enable collision. Let's set it to false in this case. Then we want to say attach actor to actor. Uncheck the well-simulated bodies. And here comes the socket name. So the socket name is when we go to our mesh here. Let's open this up. So we have this skeleton here, and it's pretty easy. You go to the root and say add socket. And then we have these 4 sockets here. So as you can see, I put already the driver's seat, the passenger seat 1, passenger seat 2, and 3 inside here. So be sure that you remember the names. It's pretty important for this. So let's go back to our core. And we have these attach actor to actor function. Then we just type in driver seat. This will be snap to target, and keep world. So the parent actor is of course the reference to self. The target is the player. And at least we want to set the driver, it's again the player. And then we want to set the vehicle, so set vehicle. And again, this is a reference to self. Great. So now we have to do this for the passenger side. For this, let's create a new custom event. This is the enter passenger seat. Let's go to the details and this get an input. This will be the socket. The socket is a name. So when we now go from the false case, we say enter passenger seat for every seat, of course. On the false case. And now we type in the passenger seat 1. This is 2. And this is 3. Makes sense. Compile and save this. The first thing I want to do is to switch the cameras. So let's call our switch camera function, in this case, like this. The second one is we go again from the player and say set movement mode, and he will create a reference to the character movement. So this is important for when you enter the car as a passenger. You not possess the car, you possess the character, but you not should be able to move. That makes sense. The second part is we want to set the Boolean passenger seat to true, of course. Then again, we want to set the state machine for the animation. So let's go here and say set state machine to driving, like this one. We want to, of course, set the actor enable collision to false, that we don't mess up the car. Again, we want to attach the actor to the actor, so the player will be again the target. The reference to self from the car is the parent actor. The rest is still the same, but the socket name, of course, is the socket from the input. So thus we have the different sockets here that we want to enter. Depends on the vehicle door. Then we want to set the passenger, of course, like this one. This is again the player. And at last part is we go again from the player and want to set the vehicle, which is again a reference to self. Great. So let's see if it's working. When we hit play, we can enter this door here. Next one, we want to enter this door, whatever you want. Of course, we want to exit again, so we need a function for this as well. So let's go back to our core, and we need a new custom event. This is exit core. The exit core function gets an input. This will be the driver. The driver will be a boolean. So the first thing, of course, we need a branch to ask if it's a driver or if it's not a driver. Then we need our driver itself. We need our passenger. From the passenger, we say get vehicle door. Say switch on int. This is the false case. Then we want to set the exit position. The exit position is in case of the driver, of course, the driver's side. This one here. In the case of the passenger, we have more situations like above. We have 0, 1, 2, and 3. In this case, 0 is not set because 0 is the driver. Then we want a situation. Let's go here and say interact. And we want the action event. Why I do that? The action input is when you process the car. The interact action event will trigger from the car side, not the character side, because we process the character in this, the car in this case. So we just on press call the exit car function and hit the driver to true. Of course, we are in the car and we are the driver. So then we need our passenger side box collision, the 2 and the third one, like this one. And we want to set the exit positions on every situation. So on situation 1, 2, and 3. And this will be position 1, position 2, and position 3. Then we go from the exit position, say get world location, and again get world rotation, and then we want to set the actor transform. And we are teleported true, split structure pin, so this will be the new transform, location, and rotation. Of course, in every situation we want to call these option, and this will be the passenger. So this is the target. Copy and paste this above here. Same thing, we go get actor world location and rotation from the exit position, again like this one, and of course we want to call the function, but in this case the driver is the target, like that. So, and above here we want to set the state machine back to the normal state, that we have the normal animation again. Same thing down here for the passenger. Then of course we want to set actor enable collision again back to true. Of course for the passenger as well, like that. In this case, from the driver, we want to process the character again. So let's go do that. Then we need the reference to self again. This is the car. We get the controller, like this one. And the pawn that we want to control is the driver. After that, we want to detach the actor. So of course we want to set it to keep world, keep relative, and keep world. The target is in this case the passenger, and as well we do this same thing for the driver. So go again from the driver as a target. Then we want to set the driver seat to false again, the passenger seat to false again. Then we want to go from the passenger side and have to set the movement mode again back to walking so that it's able to move again. And then, of course, from the passenger, we call the switch camera function again, so that you switch the camera back to normal. Great. And the last part is on both situations from the driver, we say set vehicle and just leave it. We want to set it to nothing. Same thing for the passenger. From the passenger, go back to here as the target. Great, so let's take a look what we've done here. We have a branch to ask if it's a driver or if it's not a driver. Of course, when we interact here on the car side, it is a driver. We go to third person character. We have left this vehicle is valid. If it's valid, so it means it's in the car, we go from the vehicle and say exit car. And leave the driver boolean to false. Of course, we are not a driver. So again, ask if the executed is a driver or not. And if it's a driver, we want to exit the position to the driver side, set the actor transform. So that means we set it to the position of the box collision here. Set the state machine back to normal so that we have the animation back. Set the actor enable collision. Poses the driver, so the third person character in this case, detached from the car. Set the driver's seat from the car to false again. And yeah, clean up the vehicle. The same thing on the passenger side, but in this case we want to set it to the passenger side 1, 2, or 3, depends on the vehicle door. The rest is the same function. Great. So let's see if this works. So we are go to this side, go out, go this, go out, go here, go out, and of course when we are the driver we can control the car and go in every door that we want. Great. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. If you have any questions, please let me know, and yeah, goodbye.